Hi guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the Shearwater Petrel 2 Titanium. So this is an upgraded version of the Petrel 2. It now comes with this titanium bezel, which just makes it a little bit tougher, but a lot cooler. So let's take a quick look. Okay, so let's put 60 seconds on the clock and let's take a look at the Petrel 2 Titanium. So this is a kind of chunky dive computer, but it's very, very customizable. So this is designed for pretty much any level of diver all the way up to tech. So if you're really mixing gases, you're putting helium into your mix, this can go there with you. This is an upgraded version, so it's got that titanium bezel, which just makes it very, very tough compared to just the kind of plastic bezel that it used to have, but very, very customizable in that you can change the layout of the screen, you can change all the different colors, but you can even change your actual algorithm by using gradient factors, and yeah, very, very customizable. Just uses a single AA battery, which you can change yourself, so very, very easy to change on the boat, and it has a really nice pair of straps on the back, elasticated bungee with that kind of pinch clip. So let's take a really in-depth closer look at the Petrel 2 Titanium. Okay, so let's take a look and see what you actually get. So this is how it's going to arrive at your front door. So it comes in a neat little case, which you can reuse obviously to keep it safe. So you've got a little attachment D-ring there if you want to sort of clip it off onto anything inside of your bigger bag to keep it from rolling around. But two zipper opening. And then inside of here, obviously we have our dive computer. I'll show you that in a second. A section of foam just to protect the screen. On the inside here, you've got a few stickers and just sort of warnings to make sure that you're using it properly and not to use the wrong battery. You have a zippered section in the top. Now in here, we have a little checklist to make sure that your dive computer has been checked, and whoever checked it has actually sort of signed it off. You also get a little bag of goodies. Now inside of here you have this thing here is basically a decent coin, and that's a battery compartment opener. A few spare O-rings as well. You get an aluminium carabiner and a Bluetooth USB dongle. So if you need to connect it to your desktop PC, but your PC doesn't have Bluetooth, they actually give you one, which is quite nice. Other than that, it's just a standard box, and then we move on to our dive computer. So I'm just going to take the film off of that. Okay, so the dive computer, so the only thing that really makes this any different from the original Petrel is that this has this titanium bezel, which is very, very smart. It's nice and strong, because if you're not using a protective case over the top of it, then that sort of section is what's going to sort of get sort of bumped and scratched. But now it's titanium, it's double tough, it's corrosion resistant as well. So yeah, and it gives it a decent look. So reusable battery, or user changeable battery I should say. You use that tool just to undo that. It just takes a AA battery. You can then sort of change which AA battery you put inside of it. Two piezoelectric switches, so without any kind of mechanical movement, you have this button on this side and then you have the same on the other side. This is how you're going to navigate around the dive computer and change the different settings. As you can see from the front, color screen, and then sort of on the back we have an adjustable sort of bungee strap, two of them, and sort of buckles as well, so you can adjust it and then sort of pinch clip that off. So that's what's going to keep it on your wrist. So using it is very quick and easy. You've got these two sort of buttons on either side. By kind of pressing on that, you can cycle through sort of compass and all the other settings. And then as you go into it, you can then sort of cycle around, go through the dive setup. So say I want to go into that, define gas, next, define. So it kind of tells you what the buttons are doing, and what the buttons do changes depending on sort of where you are in the dive, which is what makes the Petrel sort of really, really user friendly. So whilst you're actually under the water, it changes what it's setting, kind of predicting what settings that you want to change at given points of the dive. So that sort of jumps to the top of the list as you're cycling through. So I'm just going to cycle through dive planner, the conservative factor, what basically everything sort of what's showing on the screen. Now, what's great about the Petrel is that you can kind of cycle through everything, but you can sort of very customize your dive computer. So if you don't like the white and the blue on the actual screen itself, you can cycle that through, and you can change the white to whatever color you want. You can change the blues to whatever colors you want. So it's very personalizable. You can leave it just in the kind of standard setup, but if you want to make it orange and purple or green and reds and whatever, you can have your exact dive computer. And yeah, the things, they're going to start changing colors as you reach your NDLs, or if you go over certain limits. You can change where things show on the screen. It's very, very customizable. You can change between sort of different modes, as it were. You have a recreational, and then you have a technical mode, which shows you a bit more on the screen. The recreational mode is a bit more sort of streamlined, and it just shows you the basics of what you need. But if you want to see the time to your surface, you can sort of put that on the screen. If you want to see different delta kind of information, you can have that on the screen. So it's a very, very customizable dive computer for any level of diver. Okay, so who is the Petrel for? So it was primarily designed for technical divers, because there's a lot of kind of information in here. You can change everything from the gradient factors to the screen layout and to sort of all the different gases that you're diving on. But you can use this as a recreational diver, and it's almost better to get used to this style of dive computer if you then plan on progressing onto technical, because it will sort of upgrade as you sort of continue on to dive. You can set different types of gas mixes. You can sort of set up different screens and sort of all the different sort of modes inside of it. So yes, but it doesn't have apnea mode, so if you're wanting something that goes snorkeling with you, then this isn't the dive computer for you. But if you're ever planning on doing sort of any more sort of advanced diving, anything outside of the standard sort of 30-meter kind of range, then the Petrel is definitely going to stay there with you. So it's really primarily designed for technical divers, but you can still use it as a recreational diver. Okay, so that's the Shearwater Petrel 2 Titanium, just an upgraded version of the Petrel, but a really serious dive computer on the inside, which is for any scuba diver realistically, but even if you want to go all the way up to serious tech, this is the direction that you want to go. So if you yourself make dive equipment, then down in the description below is going to be our address. If you want to send some of your stuff and watch us talk about your dive equipment, then yeah, just send us a sample and we'll make one of these videos. Or if you're looking at a piece of dive equipment, you're not quite sure whether you want to see it or not, but it's not on our channel, then just go to the manufacturer, just pop them an email and just say, hey, can you guys send a sample over to Simply Scuba, and then we'll make one of these videos so that you know whether you want to buy it or not. Thanks for watching, and safe diving. We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.